Netflix just released an addictive new, contemporary Western series, and it's already better than Yellowstone Season 1. Netflix's new Western series, Ransom Canyon, is already drawing comparisons to Taylor Sheridan's beloved Yellowstone series, with some viewers calling it even better. Ransom Canyon, which released its entire 10-part first season on Netflix on Thursday, April 17, 2025, takes place in a small but affluent West Texas town just outside of Lubbock. Although the town and characters in Ransom Canyon are fictitious, the series is deeply rooted in the various intertwining relationships between Ransom Canyon's ensemble cast that hit close to home with Southern charm. These qualities have some audiences and critics alike calling it a Yellowstone replacement. Interestingly, both Yellowstone Season 1 and Ransom Canyon have similar Rotten Tomatoes scores of 58% and 55%, respectively, resulting in rotten designations based on mixed reviews from critics. Yellowstone Season 2, however, skyrocketed up to 89% and made the Kevin Costner-led series Prestige TV, with Season 3 earning a perfect 100% score. Such could be the case for Ransom Canyon, whose great cast, multi-level storylines, and immersive setting have laid a strong foundation to become Netflix's own version of Yellowstone. While there are certainly differences between the two series, there's a lot to like about Ransom Canyon so far. Ransom Canyon, which has yet to be renewed for a second season, is more immersive and enjoyable than Yellowstone Season 1. While getting introduced to John, Beth, and the Dutton family was compelling, albeit slow-moving, in Yellowstone Season 1, Ransom Canyon is frankly easier to get into because of its superior characters. As a Sheridan show, which has arguably gotten better over time, Yellowstone feels like it caters to a masculine audience, which makes it less accessible, even though most, if not all, of Sheridan's shows are still great. Ransom Canyon casts a wider net off the bat to allow more viewers in. Yellowstone and Ransom Canyon both have soap opera elements, but the romantic twists and tensions in the new Netflix series are surprisingly well crafted and are part of what makes the show so addictively suspenseful. Ransom Canyon still has a long way to go to achieve the full critical acclaim and legacy of Yellowstone, and I'm not saying that it has even come close. However, based on its first season, which also received mixed reviews from critics, it has undoubtedly set itself up to improve, refine, and mature in future seasons, especially considering how the ending of Ransom Canyon sets up a potential Season 2. Apart from the consistency of the romantic elements at the forefront of Ransom Canyon's plot, which walk a fine line between being meaningful and ridiculous, Ransom Canyon is better than Yellowstone Season 1 because it has a sharper pace and more storylines for viewers to sink their teeth into. While Yellowstone has been famously called a dad show, Ransom Canyon appeals to a younger demographic without boxing out certain demographics and target audiences. Ransom Canyon never dives too deeply into soap opera territory, but indulges just enough that it rivals the betrayals and gossip of any popular reality TV show. The drama of Ransom Canyon is not only rooted in romance, but also in business disputes, real estate battles, athletic college dreams, and even rodeo competitions. Not to mention that a riveting murder mystery exists at the backbone of the 10-part series, which ties in naturally with the other small-town happenings. One of the later Ransom Canyon episodes actually features some action/adventure elements as well, seemingly inspired by last year's blockbuster hit Twisters. Viewers could argue that Ransom Canyon feels overly formulaic. If that's the case, then Netflix succeeded in finding the right algorithm for a promising future. While Ransom Canyon has proven itself out of the gate, the real test of whether it can truly stack up to the entire Yellowstone franchise will be its second season, if it reaches that point. As it currently stands, Ransom Canyon seems to have what it takes to make a multiple-season run on Netflix. Of course, quality alone won't determine whether it gets picked up for Season 2, and viewership is the true currency of the streaming age. Ransom Canyon is surely fighting an uphill battle in the wake of Yellowstone's success. It should be supported by the multiple books in the Ransom Canyon series, written by Jodie Thomas as well. It's tough to predict whether a Ransom Canyon franchise has the type of legs to spawn off multiple spin-offs and prequels, which is less likely. That said, Ransom Canyon is more than worthy of a binge watch and a second season. Move over, Dutton family. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name isn't John, Rip, or Case. Netflix has just dropped a contemporary Western so gritty, compelling, and emotionally layered that it's already sparking debates in ranch houses and city lofts alike. Dust to Dust, the streaming giant's answer to the genre that Taylor Sheridan helped revive. And dare we say it, it's already better than Yellowstone Season 1. Set against the windswept messes of New Mexico, Dust to Dust doesn't just pay homage to the westerns of old. It drags them into the 21st century, boots first, with iPhones, oil rigs, Mexican cartels, sovereign land disputes, and eco-activist cowgirls, all tangling like barbed wire. But what makes this show more than just a dusty shootout fest is its heart. A flawed, multi-generational family fractured by secrets, stitched together by necessity, and teetering on the edge of a modern frontier they no longer recognize. At the center of it all is Colt Maddox, played with smoldering intensity by Narcos alum Pedro Pascal, a retired U.S. Marshal turned reluctant cattleman who inherits his estranged father's sprawling ranch after a suspicious accident involving a loose fence, a rattlesnake, and maybe a little moonshine. Colt didn't want the land, didn't ask for it, and certainly doesn't want the trouble that comes with it, including the looming threat of a ruthless fracking company run by a slick, Elon Musk-type villain named Everett Vane, played deliciously against type by Paul Dano. Colt's return to his dusty roots sets off a domino effect of drama. His younger sister June, a fiercely independent indigenous lawyer, is fighting to reclaim sacred lands that Colt now legally owns. His teenage son Ryder, fresh out of juvenile detention, resents him for years of abandonment. And let's not forget Shiloh, the local veterinarian and Colt's former flame, who's now married to the county sheriff. Awkward. The tension sizzles hotter than a branding iron in August. While Yellowstone Season 1 spent time finding its footing, often wobbling between soapy family melodrama and shoot-'em-up cowboy cool, Dust to Dust kicks off with laser focus. Every scene matters. Every shot, from the golden glow of dawn rides to the stark neon of borderland bars, is cinematic. And unlike Yellowstone's tendency to paint its characters in shades of stoic heroism or villainy, Dust to Dust lives in the gray areas. Colt Maddox isn't John Dutton 2.0. He's not trying to preserve a legacy. He's just trying to make it through the week without losing his land, his son, or what's left of his soul. The series also taps into timely themes: the erosion of the rural middle class, the exploitation of natural resources, the generational trauma of colonized land, and the very real cost of masculinity in crisis. Where Yellowstone sometimes wades into those waters and pulls back, Dust to Dust dives in headfirst. One standout subplot involves a group of undocumented ranch hands who organize a quiet rebellion that intersects violently with the Maddox family's fate. Another episode deals with wildfire recovery and the ethical questions around climate sabotage. But don't worry, it's not preachy. It's just brutally real. And the dialogue, razor sharp. You can't outrun blood, June says in episode 3. It'll always find its way back to the dirt. It's the kind of line that makes you hit pause, rewind, and sit with it a second. Every episode is packed with that kind of writing. Tough, poetic, and never self-indulgent. You believe these people. You believe this place. The showrunner, Esme Navarro, formerly of Hell or High Water and Longmire fame, brings a lived-in authenticity to the project that's rare in TV. Her eye for detail is unmatched. The cracked leather of Colt's saddle, the faded protest posters in June's law office, the way the cattle don't just moo on cue, but behave like living, breathing creatures that affect the narrative. Even the music slaps. A mix of haunting Americana, desert blues, and a few well-placed Kendrick Lamar cuts. It's no surprise that critics are calling Dust to dust the Breaking Bad of Westerns. It's tense, morally complex, and absolutely bingeable. Already, fans are theorizing about what really happened to Colt's father, and whether June knows more than she's letting on. Reddit's blowing up with Easter egg hunts. What was that odd tattoo on Shiloh's shoulder in episode 5? And Twitter is full of GIFs of Pedro Pascal in a cowboy hat, making hearts swoon and spurs jingle.